Hello, beautiful Filipinas. I'm Dane Rose. In part 7 of 100 Skills for Successful Filipinas, we're going to look at asking questions, the art of conversation, finding good friends and lovers using filters, and how to grow a relationship. Now, every question is a quest. A quest is a journey. And a good journey, all journeys take energy, a good journey takes you out into the unknown and then brings you something useful, something valuable. A good question takes you out into unknown territory and takes you and your partner into a valuable awareness. So, what's a good question? First of all, a good question is an unusual question, meaning where are you from, what's the time, what do you do for work? They're small talk, but they're also questions that have been asked thousands of times, so they lead to predictable areas. If you ask someone instead, what's the one thing you'd like to do before you die? If you could do one thing before you died, what would you do? They've never asked that question. And so they have to think. But if you're paying attention, you will learn a lot about that person from that question. They will learn about themselves. It's a good question because it's unusual. The second useful part, the second thing that makes a good question is there something that can be done as a result of the answer? For example, if you ask me the question, what's the one thing I would like to do before I die? And I say, I'd really like to spend some time on Palawan with friends. Well, that's useful because now I know that, and now you know that, and action can be taken. I can schedule a trip, I can buy a ticket. Now that I'm clear what's really important to me, I can take action. And you can understand and predict that action because it's an actionable answer. The third thing that is good about a question or makes a question good is if it allows you to see information that helps you make the relationship better. For example, the question, what is your love language? Is it quality time? Is it romantic gifts? Is it words of praise? Is it acts of service? Is it touch, romantic touch, sexuality? What is your love language? What's the first one, right? Well, when I tell you that my first love language is quality time, and that quality time for me is at least 3 hours, right? So if we have a window of time that's at least 3 hours to talk, to explore, and if we make that time, then I feel more loved. Well, then you understand why I don't feel loved when you interrupt me after 10 minutes. Oh, I've got to go. You just had 10 minutes, right? You understand why I don't feel particularly loved because quality time, 3 hours or more, is my love language. So it's a good question to ask. It's a good question to answer, right? So these are things about good questions. And it's important to know that asking good questions can put you in the 1% club, meaning less than 1% of Filipinas ask really good questions. Right? Having spent time with thousands of Filipinas online, in other words, 1 Filipina in 100 asks really good questions. Now, what that means is if you become someone who asks really good questions, you join the 1% club. You stand out. So it's a useful skill. Now, that leads us into the next skill, which is the art of quality conversations. Now, what is a conversation, right? It's a bounce back, right, and forth of energy. Now, there's a couple of different ways that energy can bounce back, and there's a couple of different patterns of conversation. Now, one pattern is person A sends a question over, and person B ignores it. So that's the end of the conversation, right? The next pattern is person A asks a question, makes a comment. Person B responds. And that's the end of the conversation, right? How are you? I'm fine. That's the end. How are you? I'm fine. It goes over, it bounces back. Now, the only way that the conversation continues is if person A says, hello, how are you? Person B says, I'm fine. And then person B adds a new thing and says, what about you? What's something great about your day? And then person B responds, right? And then they respond again, right? So the art of conversation, if you want to keep the energy moving, it's important to track a couple of things. First of all, is the energy moving up or is it moving down? I was talking with a Filipina online today, and I wrote out a nice question. What do you think about this and this and this? And she said, okay. Right? So the energy is moving down. Now, what does that mean? It means that I bring the energy up maybe 50 volts, right? And then she brings it, but sends a little bit of the energy back, right? So then I sent another 50 volts over, right? And then she said, maybe, right? And I said to her, because she was talking about the fact that her boyfriend had left her and her daughter, and her father had left her and her mother. So this was a family pattern that the men would leave, right? Now, the thing about family patterns is that they generally repeat, right? The father left her mother, and her boyfriend left her and her daughter, right? So the second generation. So if you don't understand a family pattern, it will generally repeat and repeat until somebody does something to change the pattern. So I said to her, I said, you realize, of course, that if I write a paragraph and you say one word, and then I write a paragraph and you say one word, it is boring for me, right? You leave me to do all the work, which is lonely for me. You say very little, which is boring for me. And you make me feel small because you're not making an effort to include me in the conversation. You're saying it's not worth my time to write more. So what's going to happen, of course, is I don't want to feel bored. I don't want to feel lonely. I don't want to feel small. So what am I going to do? What's somebody going to do in that situation? They're going to leave. But that's the pattern, isn't it? The men leave you. But why do they leave you? Do they leave you because you make them feel important? Because they feel amazing? Because they feel included? Or do they leave because somehow they feel small? Somehow they feel lonely? Somehow they feel unincluded? Why? So that's part of the pattern. And she says, yeah, maybe it is. Right? But it's up to each person to change the pattern. Because if I send over a strong energy and somebody sends over a weak energy, and I send over a strong energy and somebody sends a weak energy, my energy goes down. And the conversation slowly goes down, right? Goes down, it gets smaller and more boring, less energy. That's a boring conversation. That's a boring relationship. Now, how do you make a conversation, a relationship go up? Somebody says, hello, a small energy, and you reply, hello, and thank you for writing to me. I looked on your profile, and I see that you like art. Right? So you're lifting it up. Then they say, yes, I do like art, right? And then you say, can I see some of your art pieces? Do you have a link, right? And they say, yes, right? And you say, well, where can I see your art pieces? Because I'd love to see your art, right? The conversation is getting more exciting. You're investing, you're expanding the possibility. You're showing interest. You're putting energy in. And if you keep putting energy into the conversation, they enjoy talking with you, right? So the relationship expands, and they say, I want to make more time to talk with this person. So that's the art of conversation. If somebody asks you a question, you answer, and then you ask them a question and let them answer. You answer that, and then you ask them another question. And this is also part of the art of creating an upward-moving, expanding conversation. Now, how do you direct a conversation? As this is also a very important thing. How do you decide what to focus on in a conversation? Because in a conversation, you have this topic, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, right? You have different things coming up. They mention different things. Well, the first thing that you want to focus on is what has the most feeling. So if they say, I ate pizza for breakfast, I'm going to watch a movie, I played poker, I went for a walk, my father died, my dog needs to go to the vet, and I just took a shower. So these are the things that they said. Now, which of those topics have the most emotion? Their dog needs to go to the vet, and their father died, right? So you immediately focus on these areas. Why? Because they're important areas to your partner. You focus on the things that they have the most feeling on. People love their dogs. The dog is going to the vet. People have love and hate and anger and fear and pain, sadness, joy with their father. And so that's going to be the biggest thing. So you might say something, you focus on the thing with the most emotion, and you might say something like, I'm so sorry. Is there anything that I can do? Would you like to talk about it? Would you like to be held? What can I do to support you at this important time? So you find in each conversation, you find the area that's really important. And you focus on it. You focus on it and you make it comfortable and safe. You want to make the person feel comfortable to cry with you. You want them to tell the truth with you. You want them to be able to express all their feelings without being judged. Now you are a very good friend, right? So, but this is part of the art of conversation. You identify which is the area of feeling. Now, another way to do that, right, is you watch somebody's face. Maybe you don't know. But when they talk about buying their new car, they're really excited. You can see it in their face. And so you follow the energy. The excitement, right? The brightest excitement is around the new car. So you bask in the excitement. You follow the thread to the most exciting topic for your partner, and you let them talk about it. Right? Oh, tell me more. What do you like about your car? What's this? What's that? Right? You follow the light. So you watch their body, and when they get excited, when they light up, you follow it and you focus on that topic. Now, you can also focus on the pain, the depression, right? That's the next, that's the other thing to focus on, right? You're talking on different things, and they mention their job, and you can just see it's so painful. So you may also focus on a painful area, right? You focus on a painful area to see if you can help. You might say, you just seem really tight about that. Is there anything I can do? Do you want to talk about it so that you can release that painful feeling? And they might say, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I feel so tired and exhausted. Well, of course you feel tired and exhausted, right? You support someone to be the way they are, and you focus on the strongest feelings. Now, the next thing you do is you interrupt for clarity, but not to change the subject. Right? So what does that mean? You say, oh, JP was so crazy today. And then you might say, oh, who's JP? Oh, that's my friend from Palawan, JP. Okay, continue. Right? So you interrupt to get clarity, but not to change the subject. Right? You let someone talk, and you make enough time for them to talk and finish what they have to say, and then you talk about what you want to say. Right? So this is courtesy. You make enough time for the other, and then you make time for you. Now, sometimes our friends are self-centered. They're rude. They're self-absorbed. So they only talk about themselves, and then they say, oh, I've got to go, right? Well, it's not a very good conversation, because a good conversation is balanced, right? It's balanced. And so if they only talk about themselves and then they leave, they're not a very good conversationalist. And the same with you. If somebody asks you a question, you talk for 20 minutes, they give you the space, then you say, oh, I have to go. And then next time you do the same thing, you are unbalanced. So the relationship is going to fall over. So the way to deal with that is the next time the person wants to talk with you, you say, the last conversation we talked all about you. This conversation, I'd like to talk about me. And if they don't want to, then they're a bit too unhealthy. They're a bit selfish. So they just want to talk and they don't want to listen. But that's only half the circle. It's not a real relationship. It's just a self-centered, I want attention. So you realize that person isn't a friend. They're just using me for attention. Because a friend gives back. It takes and gives back. A friend takes and gives back, uses me for conversation, right? So this is, the dynamic. It's important that both people have a time to feel, to be understood. Now, another part of that is making sure you understand. You could say something like, it sounds like you have a lot of anger at your boss. Is that true? Did I hear that clearly? They could say, yes, that's true, I heard that. They could say, no, it's not anger at my boss. I'm just angry at the situation. My boss, he can't do anything, but it's very hard for me, right? So you make sure you understand what the person is saying. And this is all part of the art of good conversation. This is how I can talk for someone for 6 hours and have more energy because we're going up and we're going up and we're going up than I did at the beginning. On the phone, talking 6 hours, plug in the phone, the battery's going dead. It's such an exciting conversation. It's going up and up and up. Right? The art of conversation. Now, skill number 24, the art of finding good friends and lovers. Now, the first thing to understand about that is that we are all different. We start off born, we're born whole, right? And then we have experiences that cause us a lot of pain, right, in this area and here, right? And then we have some problem over here, right? And then we have a problem over here, right? So we all have these unique problems that we were born into a dysfunctional family, a culture that's not very healthy. We suffer, we're lonely, we're confused, we have problems. And usually the worst, there's some area that's just the worst possible pain, right? Nobody ever listens to me, no matter what, nobody listens to me. That could be the worst pain. Now, when you go to find a good friend and lover for you, you can't find someone who's not going to listen to you and who's going to cause your worst pain every day. There's plenty of people that won't listen to you. So what you need to do is look for medicine, which is the opposite of your experience before. So you need to find someone who's a very good listener. I feel so much pain, nobody ever listens to me, okay? So the person that you want, a good friend or lover, is someone who always listens to you. If you find someone who always listens to you, you will start to heal the pain, the imbalance of your whole life. Nobody listened to you. Now, that's your goal. That's what a good friend or lover is. Now, if you're unconscious, if you're a lazy friend or lover, the way it works is you've always had people who don't listen to you, so it feels comfortable, right? It's painful, but it's familiar. You know how to resent and punish someone for not listening to you. So you just find another person who doesn't listen to you and you just do the thing you've always done, right? It's a bit lazy. You just repeat the pattern over again. You spot someone, that person's probably not going to listen to me. You get in a relationship, they don't listen to you, and you complain that nobody ever listens to you. It's pretty lazy. But if you say, what was it like Dad never listened to me? Mom never listened to me. What was it about that? Like, what didn't they listen to? Why didn't they listen? What kind of personality were they? They were just so self-absorbed, or they didn't like artists. And I'm an artist. So they didn't like artists. I'm an artist, so they never listened to me. Okay. So I need to find people that like artists. How many people in 100 like artists? Maybe 3, maybe 2, right? So in 100 people, only 2 are really going to like artists. I'm an artist. Only 2 are going to be really good listeners and like artists. Okay, so the first thing we have to do, right? The first thing we have to do is we have to expose ourselves to 100, right? 100 people, because only 2 of them are going to like artists and are going to be good listeners. So you find your group of 100 people. And how do you know who likes artists? How do you know? Well, you might, if it's online, for example, I do a lot of kind of meeting people online. You might read through and say, oh, they have an interest in art and painting. Seems like they like artists, right? So that might take the group down to, right, a small number that said that, right? But just because they like art and painting doesn't mean they're good listeners, right? So how do you know if someone is a good listener? Well, you ask them a question, right? So you ask each of these people one good question that makes them think. You ask them a question. For example, you might ask them, what pattern do you want to change in your next relationship? That's a good question to ask someone, because everyone has had bad relationships. And if you haven't, you soon will, right? Everyone has had bad relationships. So if you want to change a bad result, you have to change something that you're doing. So what is it that you want to change? What pattern do you want to change so that you have better relationships? It's a good question. Now, if I ask this question, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If I ask 11 people this question, what pattern would you like to change in your next relationship? The first 3 or 4 people will ignore the question. They won't even answer. So obviously they're not good listeners. They're ignoring me. So that gets rid of them. Now, the next few are going to answer a different question. Like, I'll say, what pattern do you want to change? And they're going to say, I'm looking for a great guy. But that's not the question that I asked. They're not listening to the question. They're listening to their own thoughts. So they're not good listeners, right? But maybe 1 or 2 of them are going to say, well, I liked my last boyfriend, but he was too busy. And I'd like someone who has more time. Or I liked my last relationship, but it was long distance and I'd like more time. Or I'd like to have more focus on my feelings. Or I'd like to have less drinking. He became problematic with drinking. And then you say, okay, these 2 people, they like art and they're good listeners. They're good listeners, they're good conversationalists. So if you know that only 2 people in 100 are going to be good at listening and like artists, then you have to get a group of 100 people together And you have to create a filter that only lets the good listener through the filter, right? So one of the things that I do, for example, because I've had a lot of lazy girlfriends. They wait around to be courted. But is it fun to court a lazy girlfriend? Sometimes it gets boring, right? They wait around to be courted. Right? They're not very good conversationalists. They don't have any money. They want you to pay for everything. It's a bit lazy, isn't it? They could go out and learn skills and make money and buy things for you, but no. They just, let's let you pay for everything. You do all the courting. You do all the work. And they want you to travel to their place, right? Oh, I don't want to meet you in Manila. Just come to my town. Fly halfway around the world. Then come get another plane to my town. Then wait for my convenience, right? I don't have time except this day and this day. Just wait around for me. They're lazy, right? So it's no fun dating a lazy woman. They're just waiting around for someone to do everything for them. And so I like a hard-working woman, a person who respects my time, right? So how do you find that? Well, the first thing is lazy people, they don't read your profile, right? So you can immediately spot a lazy person. Like a woman will ask me, where are you from? It says right in my profile, I'm from the United States. But she was too lazy to go and look. So she says, where are you from? And I say, aha, thank you. Now I know you're too lazy to look at my profile, delete, right? So you can get rid of all the people that don't look at your profile because they're too lazy, right? Now, the other thing is lazy people just say, hello, 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 right? They don't, because it would take an effort to think. So you delete those, right? And then you find someone that said, oh, I saw that you're a writer. You did this, and you say, aha, right? They looked at the profile. They thought about it. They took the time to say more than hello. This is a hardworking person. So you can filter through, okay, 100 people, right? Half of them are too lazy to look at the profile, just delete, right? Half of them just say hello, delete. And then some of them say, hello, Dane, what about this? A little bit of interest, right? And then they ask a good question, and suddenly they're part of the 1% who isn't lazy and who's showing the ability to have a good conversation, right? So this is, right? This is a filter. Now, because it's painful to be with a lazy person, for me, I need to filter for people who are hardworking because that's fun. It's fun to have a hardworking partner who's equal, right? Who puts in half of the effort. It's not fun to have a lazy person who waits around for you to do everything and buy everything. This is just no fun. So you have to find what you want in a man. You have to find, do you want a lazy man? Or do you want, what do you want in a man, right? And how are you going to find that? For example, every time I make a woman work hard and she does it, I know she's not lazy. So I can easily find the hardworking people because all the lazy people will not do it. Oh, I can't take a bus. Oh, it's so much traffic. You say, oh, okay. I flew 18 hours over here and took time off work, but a 2-hour bus ride is too much. It's not balanced. 20 hours, 2 hours, right? Oh, right. So you see complaining and lazy, right? Off they go. And so what is left is then someone who says, oh, thank you so much for visiting our country, polite and warm and hardworking. When is a good day to come and visit you? Yes, I can come there. And then if you want someone to be reliable, see if they're on time, right? If someone is going to keep you waiting your whole life, always late, well, they will show up to the date late, right? So then you say, okay, this person will be late, always, right? In the future. They tell you who they are by their actions. Now, you can also talk to past lovers, right? Or friends, like, tell me about this person. Where are they strong? Where are they weak? No one is perfect. No one is perfect. And so to find good friends and lovers, the first thing you have to understand is, where is your pain? Everyone's pain is in a different area. You've got to locate your maximum pain. Then you've got to find the opposite, right? If your maximum pain is cheating, then maybe the thing that you like is honesty. Now, you need to pick an honest person then before someone who's cute and dishonest, right? So you need to pick someone who is going to relieve your suffering. And then you need to create a filter, right? If you want to know who is honest, like, sometimes I'll leave money around and I'll see what somebody does. Oh, they took the money. Sometimes I'll loan them some money and see if they pay it back. Because I don't care about the money, I care about the honesty, right? And people will tell you, I'm dishonest. I make up stories, right? So this is a very important skill, because if you end up with someone who shocks you and abuses you, it's because you are weak in this skill. If you are paying attention, if you learn this skill, if you are conscious, no one will shock you. You say, oh, right? And you also need to, as part of this, understand statistics, right? So I know from experience that 50% of Filipinas will lie to me if it helps them with money. Why? Because, in the past, 50% of Filipinas will lie. So I know it's 50-50 if I'm going blind, right? But I can make an assessment, right? I can make an assessment. For example, if someone has worked with an employer for 10 years and the employer says this is a really honest, hardworking employee, well then, almost certainly she's not going to steal or lie from me. Because if she was wanting to steal and lie, she would have already done it with her employer over the last 10 years, right? So you can get to see how people treat other people, right? And you learn about where they're strong, where they're weak through experience. So if you are surprised by someone, it means you are not good at filtering and seeing people clearly. Now, most Filipinas are terrible at this skill. How do you know? You just talk with most Filipinas who got pregnant and the man ran off and they were surprised about this and they're upset about this. They're not good at this skill. Now, it's kind to be good at this skill, because getting pregnant with an abusive boyfriend damages your life for 20 years. Right? Learning this skill only takes a few months of your time, and you can pick much better partners because of this skill. Now, once you've picked someone who is healing, who is medicinal for you, once you have picked someone who is good for you, then the next most important skill, skill 25, how to grow the relationship. How do you grow the relationship from just being friends or chatting sometimes to actually forming a strong bond and growth together. So how do you do it, right? Well, there's different ways. And one way is through quality time. You make time for someone. And you make it easy for them to spend time with you. You ask them, when's a good time to spend time today? We're long distance or here. Like, when are you free and would like to spend time with me? You make the time available. Right? The next thing you do is you learn about their love language. What makes you feel loved and supported? Oh, I love it when you smile. Okay, I'll smile a lot for you. Right? I love it when you write me little notes about how much you enjoyed our time. Okay, I'll do those, right? I love it when you massage my shoulders and caress me. Oh, okay, I enjoy doing that. You ask questions and then you respond. You take notes. Okay, right? Neck massage, notes, this and this and this. Because feelings are organic, romantic, and natural. But they are produced by behavior that is often not natural, right? A really good masseuse didn't just do that naturally. She took a class on how to become good at massage. And then it feels really good because she studied, right? In Japan, they have geishas. These are women who study the art of feeling, the art of healing, right? Healing a man's pain, healing a man's insecurities, healing his sadness, healing his loneliness, being present for him. They study for years because many women in the world cannot help a man who is in pain. But almost every man is in pain. I'm in pain, right? I suffer from depression. I suffer from loneliness. I suffer from grief. I suffer from fear. I suffer from stress and anxiety. I have hurt feelings. I feel sad. I feel tired, right? And women give me problems all the time. Oh, fix this problem, this. And it's painful. Now, a geisha studies the art of lifting that pain, healing that pain, understanding that pain, letting go of that fear, relaxing that stress. Now, if you can heal and love a man in pain, and you understand that every man is in pain, maybe your boyfriend feels shame that he doesn't have enough money. You can say things that increase his shame, and you can say things that decrease his shame about money. Maybe your man is sexually frustrated. You can frustrate him more, right? Or you can help him release his sexual frustration. Maybe your man is lonely because you're always thinking about yourself or what you can buy or whatever, or you're not interested in understanding what he's thinking about. He's lonely. You can say things that release his loneliness, or you can say things that make him more lonely. And most women do not know how to systematically lower a man's pain. They do not understand that every man is in pain to some degree in some areas. And because they don't understand that, they don't understand the areas. And because they don't understand that, they don't understand where they increase the pain and reduce the pain. And because they're self-centered, they're not interested in learning. And so a man in a relationship with that woman will start drinking, to avoid the pain that she's causing. He will start gambling to avoid the pain that she's causing, or to avoid pain from his past that is not welcome and being healed in the relationship. Now, if you as a woman learn the magic, the art of systematically reducing the pain in your partner, you become part of the 4% club, right? In 100 women, 4 will be good at reducing a man's pain. There will be 4 women as well who cause massive amounts of pain to any man who's in relationship with them. All you have to do is get involved with that woman and massive amounts of pain, right? Johnny Depp, Elon Musk, other boyfriends, Amber Heard, right, cause massive amounts of pain to any man she connected with. And I've met women, right, who within minutes I can tell they're already increasing my pain. And sometimes they want to hurt men and they know what they're doing. They're seeking revenge and all of that. Sometimes they have no idea what they're doing, right? If you're one of the 4 women who systematically reduce a man's pain, you become very rare. Why? Because a man has to meet 25 more women before they find one that reduces their pain more, and because every man wants to reduce their pain. Right? If you can reduce a man's pain, you grow the relationship because they value you more. Right? Now, sometimes you find men that are fools. They have no idea that you are a rare healer because they have no experience. Nobody teaches them. The culture is absurd when it comes to teaching men how to value women. So you may have an inexperienced fool on your hand. Don't worry, right? Don't worry. Let him go. Let him spend time with 20, 30, 40 other women and then realize what a good woman you are. And run back. And if you want to spend time with him in the future, just let him go. Say, you go off and do your thing. You are a fool. Don't tell him that, perhaps, but okay. This man does not know how to value you. Let him go off. 5 years later, he'll come back. Oh my goodness. I spent time with this woman. She was such great. She was so great. And you were the only one, right, who really helped me. Well, now he's not a fool. Now he's educated. Now he appreciates you. So now you've got a good man. There's no hurry, right? If you will be an amazing woman and will reduce a man's pain rather than cause him pain, you will meet plenty of fools, but the smart ones will appreciate you, right? And they will ask you to be in a relationship because they're smart and because you know what you're doing, right? So you grow a relationship by helping a man reduce his pain. You grow a relationship by teaching a man how to make you happy. Honey, if you do this, I feel so good. If you touch me like this, I feel so good. Can you touch me like this? Right? Help a man to make you happy. It's vital to grow a relationship. Teach him how to make you happy. Reduce his pain so that he's happy. Make quality time. Ask good questions. Learn. Watch his face. When he's ecstatic, when he's smiling, do more of that. And understand that, relationship is part of an ecology. of heart, mind, body, money, and logistics. You want to make the logistics easier. You want to make the money sustainable. That helps if you know how to make money, or help him make money, right? Or help him save money. You want the finances to be sustainable. You want the feelings to be sustainable. You want the finances to grow. You want the feelings to grow. You want the quality time to grow. You want the compatibility to grow. You want your skills to grow. You want his skills to grow. The skills needed to grow a successful relationship. Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like to comment below, right, what you're doing, how you're learning these skills, I'd love to hear from you.